All right, we got to head over to Canada. We got to head over to Canada, folks. Canada's in a lot of trouble. Big time. People that took those mortgages in 2020, we were telling you guys, these artificially low rates are for you to compete with money laundering from Chinese bidders with the bidding wars. You won't be able to afford your mortgage if they raise rates, and they will raise rates. And we made a prediction video in 2017, 2018 that in 2016 or 2017 we were already telling you people that they need to raise rates to 9% at that time to hedge against inflation. 2020 hits, they pull the trigger on a pandemic, shut everything down, and what do? They lowered rates even more. They blamed everything on the pandemic and lowered rates to historical lows, allowing Canadian proper, Australian proper, New Zealand proper to compete with money laundering from China. And they did. They competed. They bought $1.4 million homes that you could buy in Alabama for 40 grand. That's what they bought for 1.4 million bucks. A house you could buy in Alabama for 40 grand. And then what? Now rates go up. Now people are losing it. Rates need to go up still. Another 2.5%, 3% to hedge against inflation. Oh, our inflation's under control. No, it's not. Nothing is under control. And out of Canada, as disinformation and hate thrive online, YouTube quietly changed how it moderates content. Change allows more content that violates guidelines to remain on the platform if determined to in public interest. So YouTube is like loosening up on their guidelines, and unfortunately we got a community guideline strike for a 2017 video we posted on Friday, this Friday, 2025, June 14th, 2025. June 13th was Friday, so we got a community guideline strike on a live stream we did in 2017. So I don't know what's happening, but apparently they're loosening things up, but I don't know. Because what if 25% of Canadians actually woke up to the fact that they've been had? They've been screwed over by their government on every front. Forget the tax. I'm talking about your government sold you out to the highest bidder to create a fake, artificial real estate economy. Money laundering is Canada's biggest GDP driver. Is bigger than our GDP. Real estate's bigger than our GDP, the actual GDP of the country. So Canada's in a lot of trouble. Now, what if more people came on YouTube and tried to warn more people of how they've been had? And people start waking up to it. Canada's in a lot of trouble. A lot. Canadian real estate development plans fall sharply. Again, Canadian policymakers are helicoptering money to stimulate building, and it doesn't appear to be working, says StatsCan. Data shows that the total value of building permits fell sharply in April, dropping to the lowest monthly volume in nearly a year. The annual decline was so large, it was amongst the largest since 2020. 2020, right? Canadian real estate building plans saw one of the sharpest declines in 2020, and here it is right there. And Canadian residential building plans fell sharply, especially in Vancouver. Well, Vancouver, everything's like 2,000% above realistic pricing. Canadian government purge, public sector loses 21,000 jobs in 1 month. So we told you guys they're going to be coming after the public sector. We told you the public sector is big purposefully to win elections for the Liberals. We told you all this stuff step by step. And junk employment data is based off of public sector government jobs. And these six-figure government jobs, well, they're going to start hacking these jobs. But why? Because they could just print money and just overly inflate our currency. Why would they do that? Hey, buddy. Why would they do that to us? Why would they do that to them when they could just keep overinflating currency? That could be a win for Canada in a way, and a win to destroy us and bankrupt us if they just keep growing the public sector. I did make a prediction by 2030, like 70% of Canada will be public sector. So 21,000 job losses. And Canada's job market just lost one of its biggest crutches, public sector hiring, after years of driving job growth, expanding at twice the pace of private sector. Again, private sector was disappearing. The public workforce abruptly contracted in May. New data from StatsCan Labor Forces survey shows a sharp pullback, raising questions about recent job gains while hiring boom. Again, junk employment data, we covered this whole sector over the years from 2014 on the channel in depth. Public sector versus private sector, the destruction of the private sector and mom and pops. So go back to our channel, look across and search what we were talking about on that. And Canadian households back to racking up debt faster than income. So people are spending more than what they're making. We're going back to 2016, 2017. When Canadians were using their home equity because their homes kept going up $10,000, $20,000 a month in value, and they were using their homes as what? ATM machines. And we've been talking about this for many years now. Canadian households are once again piling on debt faster than their incomes can keep up. StatsCan data shows the household debt to income ratio rose in Q1 2025, eroding some of the progress made in previous quarters. While rate cuts initially offered relief, they've begun to backfire, fueling borrowing and increasing household vulnerability and economic shocks. And Canadian household borrowing back to rising faster than income. This is very dangerous. I just wish more Canadians understood this. I just wish more Canadians paid attention to us 10 years ago when we were warning you about calculate your TDS, guys. Find out what your total debt service ratio before you take that mortgage. Find out what your TDS is before you take a loan. Find out what your TDS is before you buy that Escalade to show off to your friends. And I just wish people listened to us 10 years ago. I think a lot of people would be in good standings today. Low rates provided temporary relief, but make issues worse. And here's the problem. We need to raise rates 2 points and a quarter if we want to hedge against inflation. Now, I got this article out of Australia because it ties into what's happening here in Canada. Animal shelters struggle with influx of surrendered pets as owners face cost of living pressure. On my previous YouTube channel in 2010, housing was already out of reach for the average Canadian in Vancouver. So what happened was I made a video discussing the signs when it was 2006 and 7 and 8 when I was living in Florida. I saw the signs of how it started to fall apart. And in that video, I mentioned pets. One thing I saw in Florida in 2007 going into 2008 was pets were left abandoned everywhere. Iguanas, parrots, beautiful birds, parakeets, dogs, cats. Every pet you could imagine was being abandoned. And I was seeing it everywhere. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. You're going to start to see pet abandonment across the Commonwealth as people can't afford to keep it. It breaks my heart. I love my dog very much. It breaks my heart to see pets having to go through this, right? And it's not their fault. And unfortunately, I mean, what do you blame the government? Blame the people that have come into your country to buy you out, right? We're going to start seeing more pet abandonments here in the Commonwealth.